Today I'll be introducing you to the PC420 sewing machine. If you haven't used a sewing machine before, there's a few key features I'd like to point out. Depending on how the sewing machine is stored, there should be a block of foam or fabric protecting where the sewing actually happens. To take this out, first you need to make sure the needle is up. The needle is always stored in the down position to prevent it from moving back and forth during transportation. In order to move it up, there's a handle on the right side of the machine that rotates counterclockwise. Simply give it a half turn so the white line is pointed straight up. Now you can see the needles out of the fabric, but the foam is still being held in place, so next we need to lift the foot. The foot is this metal sled looking piece. Its job is to apply pressure to your material while you're sewing. It can easily be lifted with the foot lever and the material removed. Now that the material is out, we can see what's happening under the foot. There's a series of little teeth, and every stitch they go up and down. What they're actually doing is creating a small circle, so that every time they come up, they catch the fabric and move it a little farther into the sewing machine. That's why we have the foot, to press down the fabric into these little teeth and keep it moving. However, there's an art to applying just the right amount of pressure, especially with thicker materials. If you push too hard on the material, even these little teeth won't be strong enough to pull it through the machine. So now we know how the fabric moves, but do we know where the stitches come from? It's a two-part system where thread above the fabric and below the fabric loop themselves, essentially tying both sides of the fabric together. The thread on the top is more obvious. It travels from a bobbin through a series of channels that keep the thread at a constant tension. Then it goes through the needle where the needle punctures it through the fabric. The thread on the bottom is supplied by a smaller bobbin that sits right beneath your sheet of fabric. When the bobbin is in place, the machine uses some magic even I can't explain. As the needle comes down, the machine grabs the end of the lower thread and moves it in a circle that extends beyond the needle. Then, as the needle comes back up, the two circles that were created interlock and pull tight, creating a stitch. The process simply repeats, and depending on where the machine puts down the needle each time, all sorts of patterns can be made. Thanks for watching. Now you know how a sewing machine works. In my next video, I'll go over how to put thread on this little bobbin and how to install it. Then I'll go over how to feed thread from the large spool through the tensioners in the needle. Once we have both those pieces in place, we'll be ready to stitch a piece of fabric. You can find that video and others right here.